Before we begin the formal portion of the ceremony, I'd like to share a brief history of the UNCW Athletic Hall of Fame. It was established in 1998 to honor individuals who have brought positive recognition to the university. It's open to individuals who have made outstanding contributions in one of the following areas: as a superior competitor, as a teacher, coach with a distinguished record, as an administrator who has made a long-term exemplary contribution through strong leadership, or as an individual who has brought distinction to the university's athletic program in other ways. Today's first honoree made the trip down from Maryland to leave his mark on the Seahawk men's soccer program. And that he did. Let's find out more about one of the most accomplished players in the men's soccer program's history, Colin Bonner.
When it came to scoring on the soccer pitch, few UNCW players have done it better than Colin Bonner, a force with the Seahawks from 2012 to 2015.
Colin as a player, when I first saw him was at a tournament up in Maryland, and I saw this really skinny 6'4" beanpole of a striker, and it really intrigued me because he was kind of a profile of potentially could be somebody who could develop into something. Initially I thought he would take some time, but he was a much better athlete than I realized until we got him here on campus, and his development was really fast. He played a lot of minutes even his freshman year, and then he turned out to be one of the more difficult players to play against in the country, not just in our conference. So a really great guy to coach. Mentality was immense. And the one thing that he brought, Joe, to the team was the players fed off his presence. He was a real focal point for our attack.
The tall, athletic Bonner combined his size, speed, and skills to score 23 goals with 15 assists while starting 72 of 75 games during a spectacular 4-year career. He still ranks among the top 15 in school history in 8 statistical categories. Bonner grew up playing the game in Laurel, Maryland, and following a solid prep career, made his way to the North Carolina coast, where he was recognized by the CAA all 4 seasons, including first-team All-Conference his final 2 seasons.
If I had to describe Colin technically, he was raw when we first got him, but he was such a good athlete. He played a number of sports growing up, and that could tell in how he picked things up. Really improved in being a target man as far as bringing the ball in and dealing with pressure. And then athletically as well, he was a player that you wouldn't expect to be as fast as he is or was as a 6'4" guy. I mean, he moved really well, and then his pace. When he went to the Major League Combine for the draft, he was second in the sprint test and second in the vertical jump test out of all the kids in the country. So, for a guy his size, he really could move, and his finishing became better as he was the longer he was with us.
Equally adept in the classroom, Bonner swept the school's top 2 athletic honors, the Chancellor's Cup and Thomas V. Mosley Award, and became UNCW's first COSIDA Academic All-America honoree. In 2015, he was selected as the CAA Male Scholar Athlete of the Year for men's soccer out of nearly 1,500 competitors.
He was a model student in the classroom, and I think that's an important part that again, what players on the team see, when you've got your main contributors as well and they're doing the right things in the classroom and off the field and being a good character. That's the type of culture that helps with your culture, and Colin certainly was a beacon when it came to doing really well and a strong GPA and being just an all-round smart kid.
He completed his Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from the Cameron School of Business, graduating magna cum laude with a 3.82 grade point average.
Again, his mentality, I think that translates, into business, it translated into life off the field, and you know, everything that Colin showed and demonstrated as a student athlete here at UNCW was impeccable. And you know, I certainly enjoy coaching him and keep trying to find players with that same mindset as Colin always had, and you know, when you have that mindset, it leads to success.
Following graduation, Bonner became the first player in school history to be chosen in the MLS Super Draft when he was selected in the 3rd round, 45th overall by FC Dallas. Bonner retired from professional soccer in 2017 and uses all the skills he learned as a student athlete at UNCW as a risk manager with Alliant Insurance Services Incorporated.
I know Colin's looking forward to giving his acceptance speech. I don't think he's eaten anything up here today, but here we go.
First, I would like to thank Joe Browning and the team for putting all this together. Seriously, this is unbelievable, so thank you. I'd also like to thank Jimmy Bass, the entire Hall of Fame committee, and all involved in the selection process. It truly is an honor to be inducted alongside Cherie and Michelle. Before I get into my other thank yous, I would like to start off with a quick story of a time at UNCW and how Wilmington has stuck with me till this day. The Saturday game was the best, especially if we won. That meant a Sunday regen session and maybe even a Monday off. After our regen session, I would always go straight to Bojangles across South College and take my food back to the apartment and watch the Premier League or NFL games with my roommates. Well, this one time, I went into Bojangles with my roommate Santi, and there was a different cashier than usual. Santi went ahead and ordered his food. I then ordered mine. My typical order at Bojangles after a big game was something like 2 Cajun chicken filet biscuits, a 4-piece chicken Supremes combo with a large sweet tea, and the occasional order of Bo-Berry biscuits. The cashier looked up at Santi and I, and Santi said, "Yes, that's all for him." Sorry. The cashier looked up at both of us for a little bit, didn't say anything, and finally said to Santi, "Well, he is a big boy." Santi didn't hesitate a second, and he said, "No, he is a big bow." Santi and I couldn't help but to share the story with our other roommates, Nathaniel and the rest of the guys. Well, Big Bo stuck. It made it down to Dallas with me, and eventually made it back home to Maryland. My signature cocktail at our wedding last year was a Big Bo fashioned. Anyways, I have UNCW and Wilmington to thank for the nickname I still carry to this day. Now back to my thank yous. Thank you to all of the UNCW soccer alumni and Calvin Lane who paved the way. We are lucky to have such a tight-knit group spanning across several graduating classes. I would like to specifically mention Dave Weichel, Ashley Dixon, and Mike Lawrence, all of whom were and have been very involved in the men's soccer program over the years. I would also like to thank Gary Stevenson, the Seahawks' #1 supporter. This man's smile can brighten up a room. He's right here. He has a good smile. Win, lose, or draw, I believe everyone needs a Gary in their life. Thank you to the athletic trainers and strength and conditioning team. I arrived at UNCW, as Aiden mentioned, my freshman year, 6'4", 185 pounds soaking wet. I put on 10 pounds each year while still maintaining and improving my strength, speed, and stamina. Senior year, I was in the best shape of my life, weighing 225. In particular, I would like to thank Mark Williams. Mark's energy in the weight room was always electric. He is also one of the most genuine people I've ever met and probably made the biggest impact on me as a person during my time at UNCW. Thank you to my teammates. There were 13 of us in my freshman class. That's half the soccer team. I'm not sure Aiden knew what to expect from us that first year, but he sure did bring together kids from all over the world in different walks of life that just perfectly meshed together. Throughout our 4 years, we set attendance records at our home games. We were ranked in the top 25 nationally several times, won a CAA championship, and made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament. I sometimes get asked this question from others. What award or moment are you most proud of from your college days? And that answer is easy. It's going undefeated against Duke, beating them all 4 times we played. I also want to thank my coaches, including assistants Zach Haynes and Kenny Bundy, as well as other volunteer assistants that put a ton of time and effort to support the players off the field while also getting the most of them and driving results on the field. Thank you to Coach Aiden and the Heaney family. Coach, thank you for giving me an opportunity to continue playing the game I love. I will always appreciate you motivating and believing in me at times I doubted myself. Aiden and his wife Stephanie made Wilmington feel like a second home from the moment I got here. A big reason why I chose UNCW. Their roots in Wilmington are so strong, and the amount they do in the community does not go unnoticed. In tough times, when the homesickness started to settle in, a smile or laugh from one of their children, Maeve, Millie, or Harry, could alleviate that feeling. The men's soccer team is and always will be an extension of the Heaney family, which I am very thankful for. Thank you to my friends and family. I have a lot of family, but only my favorites are here, my cousins and aunt and uncle. Let me tell you, our team and the opposing team, they knew when my friends and family were in the stands. If only there were a few more games in the DMV area. They traveled, and man, were they loud. Sometimes it would feel like a home game for me, even if we were at Drexel, Delaware, or William and Mary. I'm so lucky to have the most supportive friends and family who have been with me every step of the way over the years. Thank you to my brothers, Peter and Paul. Although we do not come from the same blood, you are and always will be family. Your honesty and competitive drive has pushed me to be a better athlete and person. Thank you to my sister Blair, who I call Bubs. Bubs and I are only a year and a half apart. Sometimes being that close in age can be difficult, especially in high school. Blair and I were still close in high school, but knew when to keep our distance, even if it was taking a different hall on the way to class. Blair, I wasn't sure where you would end up going to college, but I thought there was no way you would come to Wilmington. Was I wrong or what? I am so happy you chose UNCW. It was so nice to have another familiar face on campus, see you in the stands at games, and grab lunch at some of our local spots like McAllister's or Zoe's Kitchen, or if we had my parents' credit card, maybe Blue Water. Thank you to my brother Drew and his wife Emily. Because of them, I have the most perfect niece, Madison. Madison didn't make this trip because their parents wanted to party a little bit this weekend. Drew has always been so supportive of me in life and with soccer. He was always the quickest to share or repost on social media when I scored a goal or we won a game. Drew, I've always known how proud you are of me, but your success and attitude about life is what makes me proud of you, and it drives me to try and get to the top of whatever I do, a big reason why I made it to the professional level. Thank you to my beautiful wife, Rachel. Rachel and I went to high school together, but decided it was best to start our relationship the summer going into college. Long distance can pull many people apart, but Rachel and I just got closer over the years. It certainly helped that she would visit as often as she did, but sometimes I wonder if her and my mom would visit Wilmington to see me, or if it was the warm weather and to go to the beach. Rachel, dating you kept me grounded while I was at UNCW, but in a very good way. I was still able to soak in the entire college experience, but focused my attention a bit more on school and soccer. There's no doubt in my mind I would not have had the academic and athletic success if it weren't for my relationship with you and the confidence you instilled in me to be the best version of myself. All right. Lastly, thank you to my parents. My mom probably thinks I'm going to start off by thanking her for the athletic genes she gave me, but I'm still not sure where I got them. But it is true, as Aiden said, I always saw myself as an athlete, not just a soccer player. Growing up, my parents let me play any sport I was interested in. soccer, basketball, baseball. There's actually one sport I was forced to play. My dad told me I was going to take up rugby or I couldn't have candy for an entire year. Well, I had the biggest sweet tooth at the time, so I think you know the decision I made. I ended up loving rugby, as my dad knew I would, and I played for several years thereafter. Now, times haven't always been so easy. My dad was diagnosed with cancer when I was a young kid. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer and suffered from pancreatitis when I was in high school. Sometimes life events like this can destroy a family, but I truly believe it made the five of us closer and even stronger. From the very beginning, Mom and Dad, you've encouraged Drew, Blair, and I to pursue our dreams we had in life, and you would do the best to support us. I have achieved several of my dreams I had as a child, including playing collegiate and professional soccer, and I am forever grateful for both of you for putting me in the position to do so. I wouldn't be up here if it weren't for you, so thank you. Can you clap real quick? And I'll just end on a little bit lighter of a note. I would like to mention that there are at least 2 Towson Tigers in this room, including my wife and my brother, that are going to be very disappointed when we beat them in the basketball game tonight. So for one last time, one team, one goal, go Seahawks.
I told Colin now he can relax. This afternoon's second honoree is homegrown. A graduate of John T. Hoggard High School, she stayed home to play collegiate golf, and the rest is history. Enjoy this video now as we learn more about an incredible career both on the links and in the classroom. Michelle Jarman.
Golf, most enthusiasts say, is a game that requires an elite skill set and tremendous mental acumen. Seahawk great Michelle Jarman displayed both during an outstanding career from 2002 to 2006.
Michelle, as a player, was a fierce competitor. She was one of the toughest players I know mentally. Michelle, in the toughest of conditions, she just had such grit, just mental toughness, that most of her wins, I mean, she won 4 times in college, finished runner-up another time and lost in a playoff, but 3 of her wins came in March. Usually those are the coldest, windiest, tournaments that we have, and I just remember, it would be like 20 miles an hour winds, 30 degrees, and she goes and wins it because mentally she still embraced the challenge of competing, even if it was really cold. And those were just the things that, when I think about the kind of competitor she was, she just brought it every single day. And it didn't matter whatever conditions, the moment, and she found a way to win.
The Wilmington native was a 4-time all-conference performer for the Seahawks, leading the team to a pair of conference titles and 3 NCAA East regional appearances. She also registered a top 20 finish as an individual at the 2006 NCAA regionals.
She didn't start off being our #1 player. A lot of people might think that someone comes in is successful right from the get-go. She wasn't even our #1 or 2 player those first couple of years. She developed her game, but the one thing that she was as a person, she's a great human being and very humble. Dealt with her success with tremendous humility. Never boasted about her accolades. I mean, here's a person that was a 4-time conference player, a 4-time academic All-American. She was the conference player of the year. Scholar athlete of the year. There's just so many. She made all A's and only 1 A-. You would never know that if you talked to her. She was so giving of herself. I mean, just her character and her as a human being.
Jarman racked up numerous statistical achievements during her sparkling career. She finished with a 76.46 career scoring average over 119 rounds with 5 tournament victories.
Michelle had a very unique golf swing. She had a unique putting stroke. I think she mimicked her dad, Moose, and so Moose taught her the game. They grew up at Pine Valley, just here in Wilmington, and they have small greens at Pine Valley. So whenever you missed the green, you had to get up and down, you had to chip. And the one thing about Michelle is that she had great hands. She had great touch. So her short game was phenomenal. Her touch around the greens was phenomenal. And if you could clone her short game, you'd want to give that to all your players.
She was tabbed the 2005-2006 CAA Women's Golf Scholar Athlete of the Year and was named the 2005 CAA Female Scholar Athlete of the Year. She was recipient of the Thomas V. Mosley Award at UNCW for the 2005-2006 season. Jarman is the only player in the program's history to qualify for 6 USGA championships: the U.S. Girls Junior, the U.S. Women's Open, the U.S. Women's Amateur, and the U.S. Women's Mid-Am. She went on to play 4 years on the LPGA's Duramed Futures Tour. In the classroom, Jarman's scorecard was nearly perfect. A 4-time Women's Golf Coaches Association scholar, she graduated summa cum laude with a 3.993 GPA and passed the CPA exam on her first try.
She made all A's and 1 A- in 4 years of school. Plus, maybe in graduate school, I think she made all A's in graduate school. And, in the business, she had a business degree in majoring in accounting. To have all A's, and only 1 A-, I feel bad for the teacher that gave her the A-. We still laugh about that now. But that's the kind of person she was. She was dedicated as a student. She had a love of learning. If you could major in studying or major in school, she probably would be a major in being a student. Back then there wasn't the internet. You didn't have Wi-Fi. You didn't have something posted, on or a podcast. You weren't watching any of that on videotapes. And so you had to take notes. So they would share notes if each person was gone, in their season. And so that's the kind of person she was and the kind of student she was. She was gonna help other people, and you wanted to help her as well.
Jarman earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration Finance in 2006 and completed her Master of Science in Accounting at UNCW in 2007. Today, Jarman continues to keep track of numbers, serving as an underwriting and portfolio manager at Live Oak Bank.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Jarman.
Majoring in finance isn't going to help these next few minutes, but we'll give it a go. First, like Colin said, just thank you, Joe. Like, you've been here the whole time I've been here, just been the fabric and helped build this program the way you have, and don't think you get the recognition enough. So we wanna honor you, and thank you, Jimmy, as you kind of leave us here. And look forward to seeing the program continue to grow. But first, I guess I'll say it's just a complete honor to be standing here before you and looking around, getting to reflect. You don't get to do this often in life, all the time. So it's so honor. I'm just so thankful for this. And in the company of great athletes, to my right, my left, fellow alumni, to all my fellow Seahawks, congratulations. I'd like to begin with a few fond memories. My time at UNCW and even on the road to UNCW. And I'm not sure how many folks realize this, but I was recruited to this program by Jan Mann and was quickly introduced to my first heartbreak at the age of 17 when she called me at orientation and said, "Hey, Michelle, I'm actually going to go start the program at UVA." So, and there was no ifs. And I'm sitting there, I'm 17, going, what in the world's happening? So while I would love to tell you I was extremely mature and welcomed Cindy, my coach, I tend to call her Coachy, and I wish I could have done this better, but it didn't take me too long to see what a great human being and the value she was going to add to my life in so many different ways. So that's where we kind of began our incredible journey, and so thankful for it. And so kind of starting with you, Coach, put you on the spot first. Your love and care anchored me in such a formative way while I was here and still does today. You pushed me to believe in myself, and that continues to drip all over my life. You helped me achieve so many of my golf dreams, and more importantly, mirrored how to be a compassionate human being. As I get a chance to lead the team today at Live Oak here in Wilmington, I can't help but chuckle when I think, say, or do something that reminds me of you. And I wanted to kind of share a couple funny stories with Coach. And one of my greatest memories was probably not me at my best, but it's always great to have people in your life who will kind of make you pause and reflect. And so we were at LSU, and when I get anxious or get nervous, I'll just start moving really, really fast, or I'll talk fast, or let me just go hit the next shot. And I think I'd hit it into the water, and I was just racing, and she could see it. I mean, she knew me, right? Like, she knew how I was going to react, and she parked her cart in the middle of the fairway, walked back, and she's like, we're going to stop. We're going to think about this, and we're going to recalibrate, and we're going to kind of keep moving together. And so that, amongst many others, the van rides, Celine Dion, she can really, really get it. So Mom and I actually saw Celine Dion in Las Vegas, but you kind of brought it to us there. So there's just so many different ways that your influence has been on our life and my family's life. My mom and dad family love getting to talk to you, and just incredibly grateful for you and what you've done here for us. So I would also like to thank the athletic administration and support staff, the strength and conditioning coaches, where I learned pain was simply weakness leaving my body, is what we were told. I remember being a 17-year-old walking in, and Jimmy Mayhew had it up there on the board, and I thought, this is a new normal. You probably remember this. And I don't know if I've ever heard as many explicatives in 1 hour session in my life, but I got used to it really, really quick. But really, really grateful for that. And Coach had a part in that too. I mean, we were running when we met in 3-putt. I knew I was getting ready to go run a mile. So we definitely kept that in mind. But the administration, the support staff, Stacy Downer, who's not here, and Aldo and Wes on the athletic training side, were all really integral. Surprisingly, golfers can be athletes, I guess. I don't know. It's changing over time, and had a few little nagging injuries, but we made it through with their help. To my teammates, some of my best memories in life were with them, whether it was in the van or having movie nights, going to get ice cream, getting to win championships together, just watching each other kind of bust through our own internal barriers, whether it was success on the golf course or outside of it. We really have just cheered each other on, watched each other get married, have babies. It's just been a really, really cool thing, and all that started here at UNCW. Steph and I actually got to play professionally together, so we'd drive all over the country in our little Hondas or Toyotas and have a blast. So it was really, really special to get to be with her. And like Colin said, Coach recruited people from around the world, so we got to experience different cultures even while being here at UNCW. And one of my favorite people in the world, Liana Viljoen from South Africa, not here today, but I think for those of you guys who know her, you leave a better person for just being impacted by her. So incredible to be able to spend time with them and just really forged this idea of how important relationships are to us in the world. And, we can have all these accomplishments, but if we don't have people to share them with, it really doesn't mean much at all. When it comes to coaches and mentors, I've been very blessed from beginning ages. Ron Manson, Bill Williams, Sheila Bowles, Ann Suttles while I was growing up. The folks at Pine Valley were always like family to me, including Bob and Pam Boyd, Danny and Shamina Broach, Johnny and Jennifer Adams. I could continue. But Rob, you gave us so much guidance around golf and life and made it fun for all of us growing up around the club and kept us having a good time. Timmy, my brother, can attest to that, and probably broke up a few fights with Timmy and I. But moving on to my most foundational inspiration, the place where all that I am and all that I be took root is with my family, and I thank God for them every chance I get. So moving on to the tough ones, your parents. I don't know really where to start, but our parents gave us the gift of unconditional love and support. Whether I shot 70 or 80, we came home, we kind of debriefed, and it was probably back to regularly scheduled programming, which probably included chores or yard work that I tried to avoid by being on the golf course. So, sorry, Mom. It's a powerful force when you get to walk through life knowing that you have that kind of support behind you. So, Moms seem to never get the credit they deserve, and I sadly probably have to say that that's true here, right? My mom wasn't a golfer, but surprisingly was probably the most competitive out of all of us, right? She was the one cheering at the game. She was on that scorebook, ready to go when we were kids. Really just kind of kept us together, and you don't even realize it until, I think as you get older, you start to see it. But on a day like today, where you get to create space and remember and realize what they fostered for you. As Dad reminded me recently, you're the best of us, the glue that has always held us together. Dad, this one's fun. He's my hero and my best pal. So we love doing anything together. I remember being in college, and I'll get a call at 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, and if I wasn't working, we were going to go do something together, right? We were going to go chip and putt, play. Dad always just made athletics fun. So whether it was playing softball, he really wasn't a fan of soccer, sorry, but we did play, right? He didn't quite understand. But he realized the importance of athletics and doing things that were hard and challenging. So he always did that for us. He challenged us to be gritty, not with his words necessarily, but his actions. He, ran a successful drywall business, put a lot of literal things on his back and shoulders, just showed us how to go get it done, really never made excuses. Both of them just created space for us to really thrive and sacrificed a lot. I actually thought my time in college was pretty easy. We were juggling school and golf, but realizing, I think Mom and Dad had two of us while they were in college, and realizing just what a gift it was to actually just get to play a game. So I always tried to keep that in perspective, and really couldn't imagine doing any of this without you. And he always reminded me that everybody puts on their pants the same way, Michelle, one leg at a time. So whether it's the U.S. Open or walking out to an event today, we all get to do that the same way, and to really just honor people no matter what their background was. To my grandma, you're here today. You always show up. You've always loved us so well. You always have a kind word or encouragement or some type of wisdom. I've really never heard you say an unkind word about anyone. I don't take it lightly. I was given your name, and I hope to always honor it in the best of ways. Timmy, this guy is actually the greatest athlete of our family. He decided to kind of end his athletic journey in high school and moved on into education, and he's always meant the world to me. Whether we fought when we were younger, chasing each other around with golf clubs, we kind of grew out of that. There's some dings on our old house at the door where I think he was chasing me down, but we love him. We still love each other, and we worked through that. He's an incredible human, impacting the lives of many kids in our community here today, and I'm so proud of you. It seems like a week or no period of time can seem to go by without someone at work mentioning some of your gifts. So don't ever let that light stop shining, and thanks for always being my friend, and sometimes my caddy too. I love you. While my sister can't be here today, this honor should also be shared with her. She kept me on my toes, playing in school and competing with me at everything. Her love and care while we were growing up continues to impact me today. To the friends who walked into my life after college as well, Lindsay and Jen are actually here today from school. Lindsay and I used to work out together. I didn't know Jen as well until grad school. We went to grad school together. So again, UNCW Athletics has just been such a gift in that way that we can still share that. We've gone through some hard things together over the last, now I hate to say it, how many years since we graduated. We'll call it 12, 13 years. But it's just so amazing that this place has created those friendships. And I look out and I see you guys, and I love you so much. So thank you for being here. To my other friends who came in later after my golf career, they had no idea that I, maybe had played golf until we got going. Gail and Caitlin and Katie, I love you guys. It's fun getting to share this day with you guys, and you always have encouraged me to keep playing and reminisce, so I really, really appreciate it. And you guys, along with my family, are what really makes life so full. In conclusion, golf and athletics in general is where I've discovered so much of myself, and it is so spiritual to me. I get to fight to be the best version of myself. I learned a ton how about to fail gracefully here. Unfortunately, in golf, you fail more than you succeed, like most sports, and so it just really carries over into life. I would also like to ask you to ponder if there's someone in your life out there who you could encourage, who you could help wash away their doubt with your belief. I promise it will change their life in some way, and as I reflect today, many of you have impacted me in this way, and I get to feel that impact. I want to say thank you again for this incredible honor, and more importantly, for all the love and sacrifice this university devotes to its athletes, staff, alumni, and to this community. I'm a very proud Seahawk for life and very grateful to each of you for being here on this special day. Thank you, guys.
Our third inductee today didn't begin her career at UNCW, but when she arrived at Trask Coliseum, there was no doubt whose court it was. A fan favorite on the women's basketball team for her ball handling skills, basketball acumen, and leadership qualities, Cherie Lee.
UNCW wasn't Cherie Lee's first stop in college, but it was a slam dunk for the Blanche, North Carolina native and the Seahawks during her 2 years with the program in 2002 and 2003. A transfer from UNC Chapel Hill, the versatile guard powered the Seahawks to a 37-19 record over 2 seasons, earning first-team All-CAA and team MVP recognition both years. Lee scored 884 points, grabbed 301 rebounds, and dished out 165 assists in 56 appearances for the Seahawks. She started 55 contests and remains the only 2-time first-team All-CAA pick in Seahawk women's hoops histories. She was honored as a CAA legend in 2005.
Cherie was a beast. She could play positions 1 through 4 and was very intimidating for our opponents. So when she came out, she was definitely a game changer and a difference maker.
Lee's success on the court transferred over to the classroom. She was a 2-time selection to the CAA's All-Academic team and was the CAA Women's Basketball Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2003-2004. Following her senior year, Lee was named recipient of the CAA's prestigious Dean Ehlers Award. Lee earned her Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics from UNCW in 2004.
The strongest thing about Cherie's game was her mentality. Winners win, and Cherie was a winner. I think she came to UNCW with a chip on her shoulder and something to prove, and she did that every single day. She came in and worked extra in the year that she set out and had something to prove. She went from not being a really good three-point shooter to leading the league in three-point field goal percentage, and I'm super proud of her accomplishments that she's being recognized for.
Following graduation, Lee enjoyed an outstanding professional career overseas. She played professionally in Luxembourg and Holland, where she was the 2-time MVP of the Dutch League and a participant in 4 All-Star games. Lee won a pair of Dutch titles during her time in the Netherlands. Lee is in her 8th season on the women's basketball staff at Duquesne, where she was named associate head coach last June.
I think varied experiences prepared Cherie to be the great coach that she is today. Having played at North Carolina at the highest level and then coming to UNC Wilmington and then playing professionally overseas gave her a picture of what it was like at almost every level, and gave her things that she really liked at each level so she could take and draw from each one of those experiences. Cherie is an even better person than she is player. So her values and the things that are important to her really did play a big part in changing the culture, because she wants to do things the right way, and Cherie is a winner on and off the court.
Okay, Cherie, the time has come to hear some words from you.
My dad would probably say, I'm not going to be before you very long. Keep it short. But I want to thank everyone so much because it is an honor for me to stand before you today. To Joe, for all your calls. It was one of the best days of my life when you called me to be selected into the Hall of Fame, Dr. Bass, and the entire committee. First, I'm probably going to be a little different, but this is very important to me. I would give all praises and honor to my Heavenly Father because I wouldn't be standing before you. The ability that you've seen, the genetics, the IQ, it all came from Him. I prayed at a very early age to play this game at the highest level, from high school to college to professional, and I accomplished all of those things by the grace of God. I'm going to go to my family. Obviously, my dad, who's big in my life, he's no longer, he passed in 2017, but I know if he was here, he would be sitting front and center with a smile on his face saying, that's my baby girl. And everybody would have known in our hometown that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Next, my mom, if you would like to stand or wave your hand. My mom has been one of my biggest supporters, and she only watches basketball only when her kids play. If anyone ever heard of AAU basketball, she used to go with me and sit over 2 hours at my practice, and it was an hour there and an hour back. And the one thing she told me one time was, you better get a scholarship. And then she said, before we go home, we're going to go to a flower nursery, which I hated, but we both did something each other didn't like because we loved each other. When I talk about competitiveness, we get it from my mother. She always told us to be confident, not cocky, and to always be the best by working hard, studying, and fighting for what we want. So thank you, Mom, for always being there with me and supporting me, and I love you to life. Now my brothers. My older brother, Diva, you can go ahead and stand, I know you are. And my other brother, Kashad Lee, who's not here, he had to work today. I am the only girl in the baby, so I am spoiled. But they still treated me the same no matter what. I got my power and my dominant game from my eldest brother, and I got my finesse and clutch game from my older brother, Kashad. So I was a mixture of those two. They were always my biggest supporter. My brother Diva always drove 3 hours to my home games with a white towel, running down the end zone, from the sideline to the end zone, back and forth the entire game, yelling, that's my sister, and weight room. But he always brought energy. On my senior night, the band played the Superman theme song, waved the towel for him. So it was not just my senior night, it was his senior night as well. But he always was there for me no matter what, always and still is. Whenever I have a game, whatever I need, I can call him, and he's always there motivating and inspiring me. My other brother, Kashad, even though he couldn't come to many games, he's always just a phone call away. He's never let me down. He's always mentored me, encouraged me, and let me know I'm the only female athlete he feels that can play the game. So I would not be here if it wasn't for those two from an early age. Back in the courts where my dad built the backyard court, we played. I got knocked down. I got knocked around. I cried. My mom said, if you cry again, you're not playing anymore. So I learned to stop crying, and I just kept playing. To my other family who's here, Mika and her husband Jamie, Asap, Kiki, AJ, and Ma Glenda, thank you for always supporting me as a player and now as a coach. We grew up together. They are my brothers and sisters, and I love you all so much for all you've done for me. To Ma Glenda, I didn't think I would ever have this time to do this or to say this to you, but thank you all those years ago for driving me around Yanceyville and Roxborough. I've never forgotten it. You took your day off from work and took me around to businesses to ask them to invest in me as a player to raise money to play AAU. You said some powerful words because I was an introvert, so I wasn't talking. But your words meant the world to me. And when I played to honor you and honor the words and the belief you had in me. I will always love you and cherish you. Thank you for being my second mother. To my friend, Ursula and Miss Williams, I always appreciate you guys. You're a great friend. We've always been together. You have always been supporting and encouraging me. Thank you for being such a competitor. You brought the best out of me when we played against each other in high school, and I always raised my game to the next level because of you. To my little sister, Bree, thank you so much for always supporting me and loving me and being here. And to all my family that could not be here for their prayers and support. Lastly, but not least, my teammates and coaching staff. Thank you. I would not be standing here before you today without them in my life, especially Coach Hancock, who gave me a scholarship, and we always worked together individually to develop my game. I would always come into her office every day, almost, without making an appointment and say, Coach, can you come shoot with me? And she would always say yes. The one day she told me no, my mouth hit the floor. I was surprised, and I walked out, not really listening to her call me back. And she finally called me back, and she said, I can't shoot with you right now. I have an engagement I'm speaking to at a function. What time do you get out of class? I said, well, I have class in an hour. She said, well, I will be here. I came back. She was in the gym waiting on me. That's the type of coach that I had, and I'm very grateful and thankful for her being in my life. To my teammates, I was a demanding leader. I held them accountable as well as myself. I remember I told them we were going to play in the NCAA tournament. That was the reason I was here. I didn't bat an eye, and I didn't change my tone, and they knew I believed. And they knew I was going to do everything in my power to accomplish their goal. We did not accomplish that goal, but we did get close. It was a trust and belief that we could achieve anything. We just had to work together and rely on each other. My first year playing, we won 22 games, had 2 7-game winning streaks. We were nationally ranked in the country on defense. We were one of the top teams in the CAA, and we cultivated a fan base that supported us and cheered us on. In my 2 years with my teammates and I, we had a winning record and broke records here at UNCW, and I would be forever grateful for our time together. So in closing, I would like to thank the UNCW Athletic Department, the university, and students for making my experience here at UNCW one of the most amazing times of my life. I learned a lot and developed as a player and as a person by meeting some incredible people here. This place will always hold a special place in my heart. Thank you.